Okay, I guess we're live. We're here with the Invitational 2. How you doing, Spessy?
Quite hungover, but excited to watch some Gwent, that's for sure. And it's like the production value on this tournament is through the roof, and hopefully the quality of Gwent is the same as well. That'll be good.
Yeah, pretty crazy intro video. Was not expecting the production that we saw. So we're going to be getting match one here between One More Time and Hankook. I should probably update my stream information. Let me bring up the deck lists while we're doing that. So first up, we've got Jormund Elver, who is One More Time, bringing Line Pockets, Reckless Flurry, Imprisonment. Is there anything that you want to note about these lists?
Well, there's no Sunset Wanderers. That's not going to be allowed this weekend. That's because when the players submitted their decks, pretty much you still had to get it in kegs. I think maybe you had like 4 or 5 hours if you were to play Gwent to unlock it and play 100 cards. So no Sunset Wanderers in any of the decks. Maybe that's why we're still seeing Imprisonment Masquerade Ball instead of like a tactical decision deck. Line pockets as well. Like I think on the last day of the season, towards like the last couple of days, a lot of the pro players moved towards line pockets over jackpot. It's definitely better in the syndicate mirror, I think, and I'm excited to see the witch find it in action in particular.
What's the reason that it's preferable in the Syndicate Mirror? What does Pockets do the Jackpot doesn't?
I guess it's the drill. You get the control part of it. Like the jackpot deck runs peaches and tax collectors and stuff. So you've normally got like quite a lot of decent answers, but I'm not exactly sure. I guess also like when you add Freak Show in as well. Like I always found it quite weird this deck never played Freak Show. And I think like with the bounty package and these two sort of control tools, I guess you just have that little bit of edge. And Bloody Good Friends also got buffed,
Yeah.
and the Smuggle as well, and at 4p as well. It's like the other thing that's improved this deck. So they've got definitely like a few extra points. Having like a proactive 4p Chrome card is definitely nice.
Yeah, I was playing a Line Pockets deck earlier, and I really overlooked just how good Smuggle was at 4P. It is so much better than Shakedown, being able to play it proactively. Notably, with a deck like this, if you're on Blue Coin and you Tiger's Eye Smuggle, that's just turn one Flying Redinian. There's no problems at all. Something the deck kind of struggled to do before. Next up, we
Hmm.
got this Reckless Flurry deck, which is another take on this Matic deck that sort of got popular around the end of last season. Choosing to play a Turgvi, which isn't something we saw a whole lot of, but still doing the whole Portal, Fish Flapper, Megascope, Great Swords package with Quen. Anything here stand out to you?
Yeah, no Sage is a bit of a weird one. Like going for Turgvi instead of Sage. Obviously, like more points. At the same time, like if you're not drawing that portal round one, the deck's gonna have a lot less consistency, of course. The Gerd in there as well is an interesting one. Gerd's definitely a really good card, but again, there must be some. I can't quite work out what's been cut to fit this Gerd. Um, Sunset Wanderers, I think, is a card that you're probably going to play in Flurry as well
Oh yeah, for sure.
after this weekend. So something else is going to get cut. Probably, I've seen some people cut the Sage, um, which again kind of makes sense, but I wouldn't even be surprised to see maybe Kalmar go or something like that. I was sort of suggesting that Junod would go, and Gravesh told me that Junod is like one of the best cards in the deck, and he wouldn't cut that. So,
Janod's super important in the Kostya matchup. It like
hmm
single-handedly brings that matchup from unwinnable to really solid for you.
hmm
I could see Totem potentially being the cut, depending on how much siege
yeah,
you're seeing, how much random damage is running around. You're like trading 1 point slam card for another.
hmm
And then lastly, we got good old Imprisonment Ball. Let's see, what is it doing differently to make room for the Blight Makers? Still playing two Seditious Aristocrats, so that's not where the Provs went. Playing Ardfane Tortoises, which weren't in the deck previously.
It's
Um,
honestly like hasn't really lost too much. 'Cause it's not playing the location Canter, but not all the
ah,
decks were. And normally, like if you weren't playing location Canter, you'd play like we saw Paya with the bribery in one of the top 16s, and then we saw also like Vigo for Wang ID at the Open. So you just kind of lose that 8p slot, I guess. Like you have to play with Fergus and maybe you just play like an extra four instead of like a few five. So it's honestly not been hit much at all. And getting tortoises is so good in this deck because you play a lot of tool punish. So the armor, a lot of people will see, the armor on the tortoise. Like if I remove it, it's only going to be a 6. But actually, if you remove the armor on the tortoise and play into a tool punish, you've just wasted 2 points onto armor. So it's actually playing for like a 9, right? So it's definitely in a deck that has a lot of tool punish poisons. The tortoise what a card that is at 4 provisions.
Yeah, for sure. When it's not getting answered too, it's just another 7 for 4 option. I'm really liking pushing these 5 for vision cards that weren't seeing a whole lot of play up to 4P and just making them a little bit more justifiable. We see it in the smuggled and line pockets as well as the tortoise and that imprisonment list. Well, those are one more times lists. Let's take a look at his opponent, Hankook, who's brought Inspired Zeal, a Reckless Flurry, and Jackpot. So for Inspired Zeal here, we got the old Varaxis Devotion Siege deck. Looks pretty similar to what we would have seen last season. Single Centurion Envoy, a bit weird, but trying to see if there's anything that got fit in. Kodkadak? Was that in the lists?
We did see like a fair bit of it. It kind of looks quite similar, right? I don't think NR, apart from the Pincer deck, got changed. Like Pincer lost the provision, they stayed the same. The Envoy though can now shoot a siege. It couldn't do that before. It was bugged, where it wouldn't show you any specials or artifacts. And while that can be great to find siege, it also can be a bit of a detriment because the deck does play quite a lot of cheap 4 provision bronzes. So before, like you'd be pretty good with the odds on the Envoy to hit things like Varaxis, Gerhardt, Shani, Einsace. Um, but now you can obviously hit the bombardments. But being able to shoot a siege with the Envoy definitely a benefit. And this is just a deck where the drawing of your cards is incredibly important. Just a kind of classic Devotion Northern Realms deck where it's just like a draw your golds kind of deck.
Good old Northern Realms. Next up, we got Reckless Flurry. This one, again, just looks like the list from last season. Not playing the Turgby. Double Megascope, Bear Witcher Portals, Great Swords, the Maxi to make sure everything stays in order. A Northern Wind to Moondust. I think this might have just been one of the lists from the qualifiers last season, honestly. I don't know if anything changed.
Yeah, this is the exact same deck that Cam's had for his open deck as well with the Moondust Northern Wind. That's like the only slot you really see change. Like some people play a Quartermaster in that slot. Raging Bear, in fact, trying it. I know Gravesh is a big fan of the Raging Bear. It's 8 points now. You can play it as a proactive 8. You can damage yourself. You have to damage your card by 2. But obviously in this deck with Fish Flappers, Great Swords, lots of things that heal up.
Just like a
Raging Bear in
Matic.
at 8 could make a lot of sense. And Madoc as well. So yeah, I've seen the Gird is actually not something that was super popular in these. I'm trying to work out how this Gird has been squeezed in here again. Because I'm sure maybe I'm imagining it, but I'm sure Gird wasn't in these net decks.
I thought it was, but I might be mistaken too. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
sure. I've
probably
been seeing a lot of
was.
Gerd this season that it might just be blending together.
It probably was. In fact, it must have been, right? It must have been. Gird's just good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, Raging Bear's a really cool idea. I hadn't thought about that in the context of this deck. And then lastly, we got Jackpot. Again, the usual suspects. Caesar, Professor, Jacques, Siggy, Horson, Philippa, all the good Syndicate cards. Playing Freak Show, playing the Borsodi brothers instead of the Poison brothers. That's something that a couple people did last season, but I think normally you would see the Poison brothers in this slot, right? How common were the Borsodis?
Yeah, yeah. Like not having. Usually, you would see like either the brothers, the Poison brothers, or the Passy. But
Mm-hmm.
Hankook, neither of those, just going for Ewald Horse. Does manage to get a Soul in as a result, and Soul is a really good card. So you can certainly see why he's gone that route. But I mean, the location is just so good, I think, as well. So a little bit surprised. And then in at 4 as well, he's got a single Street Urchins, which again just kind of seems like the kind of card you would play in a Passy deck. So I'm not sure on a Street Urchins over a Peaches, but obviously just especially if you've got these brothers, right? That's like one reason to play the mid-rangey Basodi brothers is you can just get away probably with not playing like a Sea Jackal or anything because you've got a few more spenders and you're playing Jackpot as well, where ultimately you don't really need spenders that much anyway. So I really don't like the Urchins instead of like I would have just liked to see that second Peach. But apart from that, it does look pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Urchins is it's another profit card for your Cesar, I guess. Additionally, I
True.
mean, it's 3 coins. 3 coins.
Hmm.
Deck's a little coin hungry between the Philippa and the. Okay, it's really not that coin hungry at all. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like
Let's.
it's decent. I really like Beggars, I have to say as well. When I played Jackpot last season for like a couple of days, if I'm honest. And I kind of just won a lot of games with it, and I wasn't trying to climb particularly, so I didn't play it again. But yeah, I love the beggars. Like the bonded beggars just give you like such good Caesar targets, even if your Siggy's answered as well. But they definitely slot well with passive. I do think that card's kind of underrated, I have to say. But jackpot, I was pretty upset not to see it hit more with a nerf hammer, I have to say. Some people have suggested to me maybe give it vitality instead of boost, because that would make like the Caesar like just way worse and stuff like that. I think that could be an interesting idea.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea. I don't know. I don't mind too much them not making like huge balance changes from season to season, especially when we're getting expansions every couple of months. Just like let those major shakeups happen and then do some small tweaks just to make things a little bit more even between. Keeping an eye on the Discord, trying to see.
Yes, we'll do.
Yeah, see what is going on here. I'm trying to see if there's a. We at least have the bands.
Haven't got anything through just yet.
Yeah, the band tool was posted. Okay. Well, between these two lineups, who do you think is favored? The Inspired Zeal Reckless Flurry Jackpot lineup, or the Lined Pockets Reckless Flurry Imprisonment lineup?
I mean, I'm kind of surprised to see no Nilfgaard from one of our players. I thought like just bringing and no Northern Realms as well. Like if it was me, I would have just brought Syndicate, Nilfgaard, Northern Realms. I'm fairly sure. Or honestly, that's a lot. I probably would have brought White Frost and had a bit of fun with that. But like, just if I was trying to bring like the best decks on paper, it would have been those three factions. So neither of those going for that. Probably with both players having Flurry, it's kind of like a toss up between Inspired Zeal or Nilfgaard, right? And
Yeah. I think
I
Nilfgaard
don't
is a little
know.
bit better than our.
Yeah, certainly in the mirror matchup, you'd rather have the imprisonment. So if that, or not the mirror, but if those two go
Head to
head to
head.
head, so yeah, probably give the edge to One More Time. I haven't seen One More Time play that much, and Hankook almost qualified for an Open actually. I think it was Open 2 he almost qualified for. He got to the final of one of the qualifiers. So Hankook probably the favourite just based off like reputation. One More Time, not someone I'm particularly familiar with.
True. So I guess while we gotta fill some time, how's your weekend going?
Yeah, it's going alright. My room is a mess. I've got beer cans and pizza, like empty pizza boxes on the floor next to me because I overslept. Yeah, pretty good. England playing tomorrow in the Euros final, so I need to work out what I'm doing. But yeah, should be good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just had a good, relaxing stream. Played a little bit of Gwent. Played some Storybook Brawl. Really enjoying that game. I don't know if you've seen it at all.
I've not. I'm terrible for playing other games. I really need to try and get on and play some other stuff.
It's like a if you ever played like Hearthstone Battlegrounds, we've seen it. It's a take on that genre. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing through Witcher 3 recently, which has been fun. But it's whenever a Gwent patch comes out, I just turn into like a bit of a Gwent robot where I just keep playing stuff. So I've been having a lot of fun though. I have to say, like White Frost, definitely a deck I'm loving. Like Devotion and non-Devotion. Like you think like you have to play it Devotion because of the Oberon and the Conquerors, but even if you play it non-Devotion, the deck just feels like it's got a lot of points. And then but I was playing Boat Builders for hours yesterday. I may have also beaten Spyro's cloggers with my Dire Bear Uridan, which was hilarious.
What's in the Boat Builders deck? What's the reason to play Boat Builders?
So I wasn't actually sure on the leader at first, but Ursine unironically actually turned out to be quite a good leader for it. So I'm playing Crack on Crate, obviously like a bit of armor. But the main idea is you play Iris and Draco Turtle, Iris Shade.
Mm-hmm.
So the Boat Builders comes in and it gives the turtle 2 armor at first, but it's now got cooldown 1, so you give it 1 armor every turn. So it's actually, if uninterrupted, 2 points per turn on your Iris, right? And
Mm-hmm.
turtle combo. But it's also really good with the Axe Thrower Pirate. That when it's exposed, it damages 2, does 2 damage. So you've got a priest next to it, It knocks off the armor, then you give one arm with boat builders, and I was using Ursine like a leader charge, but I think the card's also kind of bugged because I hit the same greatsword 5 times in a row. With I was so unhappy. Ryan was in the chat, and I think he just left because I was just raging so hard.
I'm
But
guessing it
it's
didn't die.
honestly like I think I was the build I had was just a bit too memey because I was playing my Diabe Uridan trying to beat Clog players. But honestly, I think there's like I've always kind of rated Crack on Crate, and like you've got like
Yeah.
the blue axe thing that I can't remember what it's called, the one that
Character
damages.
Plunderer? Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of work out like 7 for 4s pretty
Yeah.
consistently. So that's good fun. And discard package with Sunset Wanderers as well. You've got like a bit of synergy there as well.
How was that deck at beating heat waves? Sounds like going all in on a Draco Turtle is just like a one-way ticket to
Yeah,
getting heat waved.
yeah. I mean, I was playing Sig with Defender. Like that's the other thing
Okay.
you've got, right? You can play Defender multiple times, and I had like Olaf Heim as well in there. Like honestly, it was kind of juice. Like chat carried me quite hard, but
How did you
there
fit
was a
all
lot.
this?
There was a lot going on, right? There was a lot going on.
Oh, man.
Someone's put a clip in. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, so yeah, someone's clipping my flipping. But I hit 5 times in a row, and I lost the round by 1 point as well.
What's happened?
I was very
Hello?
unhappy. I think
Oh!
just before that, someone alchemisted my Uridan as well. And then Joachim'd into it. They cantarelled my Irish Shade. Yeah, it wasn't a good day at the office. It was everyone a bit pear shaped. Funny deck though, I have to say.
Oh, man.
And then yeah, I played Bush challenged me to a best of. I thought he challenged me to a best of 5, but challenged me to a best of 3 when I was quite a few beers in. I queued this SK deck because he slagged it off earlier on in the day. He said it was a massive pile. Lost with it. I won with I think I played Cloggers. I was like, so I'm just gonna play Tryhard deck. I played so badly, but still won. And then I challenged him. Oh, apparently I challenged him. And then obviously I had to play my SK deck again, and I just hit him with a surprise third faction. He was a good sport about it, in fairness.
It was just a few beers in, just a few.
I didn't drink like for the whole of last year. So I think ever since I feel like I'm a big heavyweight drinker, but it's quite the opposite. It doesn't take much anymore.
So, WitcherCon. Anything exciting happened there? I know you were all excited about it. Restreamed most of it, I think, right?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing actually. They had like a starting soon screen that lasted 2 hours where they had like a Geralt cosplayer sat in a hot tub, and they were in the hot tub beat pools and beaches category. So that was pretty funny. And then they had like the actors on with like some of the Gwent cards behind them, and that was quite a fanboy moment for me because I was thinking, wait, if the Yennefer actor knows that Gwent exists, does she know that I exist? So I feel like there's a chance maybe I could make it happen. I might need to sort my lifestyle out a bit and stop eating pizza, drinking beers, watching video games on the internet, and shouting very loudly down the microphone. But apart from that, I reckon it's
Shouting very
almost
loudly is how
guaranteed
you
to
get noticed.
Yeah. My chat was spamming Anya Curley in the CDPR stream.
Is that the actress's name?
Yeah. Ever since they found out my name's Curly, they've just been like I told my chat I was speaking to a girl on Tinder called Honestly, and they just found it hilarious. Jag was the one that found it. Honestly, Curly would be her name, which is a stinker. Can't happen, can it? It's not going to be a possibility, that one.
You can't do that. You can't do that to her. Oh, man.
Yeah, they showed like a bit of Gwent. It was more of like an advert. I was hoping they would, mention the WitcherCon in-game event where you can get like these Netflix-themed coins and stuff, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. What happens?
I don't know, my camera's still on, I think.
Oh, there we go. Fixed itself, it seems. Yeah, still just Waiting on game invites. We'll be getting started shortly. I got to imagine the process for getting everyone in these games is a bit of a mess. There's
Yeah.
7 different feature matches, and I think they have to make a new tournament for every match they're doing.
hmm
Yeah, that's a
I don't envy them, I must admit.
it's a lot of work to get this set up. Hopefully everything comes together and works. But I heard
Yeah,
you
they
were
showed.
sorry.
Oh, go on.
No, you go on. I'm just trying to fill air.
Yeah, they showed Gwent Masters as well at WitcherCon yesterday, but it was like right at the end of the stream. So they showed like the highlights from Masters. Honestly, that was my least favorite part of WitcherCon because it brought back. I haven't watched it back yet, but that whole weekend I was just like I had crippling anxiety about this Northern Realms deck. So watching it all again was just terrible. I hated it.
Oh no. Only added spectator for the main casters, so share via Discord. Okay, so you're gonna have to look at
hmm
the Discord window.
That works for me. No worries.
You can see it, right? I have it.
hmm
Okay.
I've got it. Yeah.
So I heard you were messing around a lot with the new Wild Hunt leader. Anything work out for
Yeah.
you there?
Oh yeah, I think I actually so Payabol played Colomon in a best of 9 series. It's not being broadcast till next week, so I won't spoil anything, but they've sort of recorded it now and then they're gonna cast over it. I think and then just put it out. So they already played, but I did manage to bait Paya into playing my Portal Maddock White Frost deck.
I played
So
a deck
you
like that
got that to
yesterday
look forward
too.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's really good. I know Tailbot's been playing some non-devotion White Frost. I've not seen it, um, but like Vader Maker's in it. Like the card is really really good with the leader, and I want to try that with Fulmer as well, and maybe like a dagger. I haven't got onto that just yet, but that's an idea. Green Knight and Gravesha have both actually mentioned to me, so I reckon there's probably something decent within that. I feel like Fulmer's kind of underrated, but you've probably got to play Vader Maker to make it work.
I've I've liked Fighter Maker the little that I played it last season. I've been surprised how little of it that I've seen people try to mess with it. It's so many points when
hmm
it goes through. Like especially in a Matic
Yeah,
deck, being able to get extra turns on your Cataclysm is kind of nuts.
yeah, yes. Like that's with the Skellige Storm as well. It's got to be good, right? 3 extra turns of
Yeah.
Skellige Storm plus some extra rain. Like even in the Frost deck without the Eridan, like it gives you 6 extra weather ticks, which is kind of ridiculous. Like you have to play okay, like a Scepter of Storms, which is not obviously you're basically playing a provision more than you would for a normal weather card, like a 4P card, but it's still like not that bad. Like you look at Red Riders, Red Rider seems really good now at 5 provisions, and it's only like 2 points worse. So the payoff is definitely there. I also like you could experiment with playing Sage, Avalax Sage as well in that deck. I did have it at first, but I think with like Sunset Wanderers, Winter Queen, I had Madik in there. Like the deck was kind of consistent enough without the Sage, so I decided to just I think get like an extra gold card in there or so. But yeah, it's a really good leader. Like Phantom Eridan, Oberon is kind of dodgy without the devotion because
Oh, you're
the
playing
Riders
Oberon.
Conqueror.
Okay.
I think it's just about like Monster just doesn't really have a great top end apart from Ozeril, Egon, and I have to say I'm not a massive fan of Ozzy Egon these days. Like it just doesn't quite feel that good to me anymore. It probably is, but
Yeah, if you're not going tall, otherwise it's kind of rough to throw in Ygritte and Azrael. Like they're great when you're doing Thrive stuff and you're playing other units that are like 10 plus throughout the game. But were you playing Ancient Foglets?
I had one. I had two at first, but with like the Vader Maker, I think Pay actually played two in his version. Um, I had two at first, but I just felt they were kind of competing because you have to go Vader first
Yeah.
before you can play the Foglets. So you play the Vader, then you play the Foglet, and then you play another Foglet, and you kind of want to get your area down. Everything just felt was competing a bit too much, so I ended up with just one. But I mean, two would also two's probably correct. I wouldn't be surprised at all. The card is pretty good.
So how good is Naglfar's crew? In a
Yeah, I think it's really good. Like,
card is not so.
hmm
Both Naglfar's crew and Eridan feel like huge winners from the Wild Hunt buff.
Yeah, it's so good as well, right? Like having Eridan actually feel great is quality stuff.
Oh yeah.
I really like his ability, and I think it also feels great that you play them in the Frost deck and they do become better. Um, yeah, like also Oberon in the Devotion. If you play Devotion Oberon, it's outrageous how many points that card is if left unanswered because you can just play so many Wild Hunt cards. My issue was I played with Devotion and I lost the Cloggers,
It's
I
not
lost the
good
Fall
enough.
Test and all this stuff.
You lose to
It's
everything. You have
you
all these
just
+1 points on all your cards, but none of your cards are good anyway. So getting +1 on all your cards just doesn't matter. It's
yeah, it's
it's
too
so
wholesome,
sad.
right?
Yeah.
You need some sort of cheese, which is why I was going for like the Diabear Uridan approach yesterday to try and have a chance against filthy Cloggers players. I have to say though, like I was really impressed with the boat builders sort of bronze package. Really, it really is quite nuts.
Oh.
That one little change makes. I got the invite.
Oh no.
That's going to be a bit of a stinker, innit?
Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll. Oh no! All my scenes.
Or try net.
Okay, it seems like we're gonna remake.
Probably.
Yeah, I
I think.
don't think I can on the fly set everything up. Oh yeah, I was playing Syndicate Igor today and winning more games than I was losing. I think we went like 10 and
Hmm.
3. Sunset Wanderers is a hell of a card.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? What was your Igor target? There's actually so many
Oh,
things you
Townsfolk.
can go for. Townsfolk,
Townsfolk
right?
Tax Collector, of course.
Nice.
Yeah, like if your
I
opponent's
am
not playing Sunset Wanderers, they can't bleed you because you just get 11 free
mhm.
points in rounds 2.
I'm really surprised how little I've played with Igor actually since Megascopes got added. I used to love it with Fallen Knights and Cut Up Lackeys. Like I've
Yep.
for some reason I've never really played like Igor Townsfolk that much. I like being a bit of a hipster, I think, but there's so many good things you can do with that combo.
Yeah, yeah.
Also Vigilantes as well.
Oh, I was gonna try that at some point last season. There, I never got around to it. I think I tried to build it like 2 or 3 times, and it always looks terrible. I just trashed it
Mm.
before streaming. Did you ever get anything work with Vigilantes working at all?
Ah, not massively. I know Bane was playing quite a lot of it. Like, trying. Did you get an invite
I did not.
just now? Okay.
Let me. Yeah, not getting anything.
Okay. I'll let him know.
Might have sent it to the wrong username.
Yeah, Max is on it. Party Blob 1234. What's that? Where's that come from? What's that? What's that all about?
My main account is bugged to the tournament platform, so I have to
Right.
use this one. Good old tournament platform. I'm sure it's not going to cause us any issues today, and it's going to go flawlessly. Specie is cursed to the tournament platform. Do we have bans? We must have bans. I'm not seeing bans.
I've not seen them anywhere either. I think.
Should I just assume that it's Syndicate and mark that down until proven otherwise?
Yeah. they're remaking the match, so should hopefully work. Apologies, chat. This is unfortunately. Bear in mind, like there's 7 of these going on at the same time as well, so don't envy the guys
It's
trying to sort it out.
yeah, there's a lot going on.
Everything else is working. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll accept full responsibility then.
I mean, 1 in 7 breaking is standard tournament client things. It would be impressive if it did any better.
I'm trying to think if there's any other cards as well. What other cards I want to try out that have been changed that I haven't got round to? I mean, Scoia'tael. There's not really much I want to do in Scoia'tael, to be honest.
Have you played Slave Infantries much?
I haven't. No, I played against it quite a bit.
I've been really enjoying playing Slave Infantry decks. The Vrygef, the one that triggers adjacent soldiers, is still like kind of janky, but Slave Infantry's at 5. Just feel really good. There's a lot of different ways that you can maneuver the game to have them make sense, especially with the Blightmaker package, giving you a bunch of ways to get 3s and 2s that you can transform.
Mm-hmm. I think like Syndicate is normally always the faction I sort of go to last, but they've got Arena Ghouls, so you could actually play Portal in Syndicate now, which maybe Hyperthin is finally back on the cards actually in Syndicate. Might actually give that a spin because you've got like the big, yeah, you've got the big procession of pens. I think every faction's got a Portal target now because ST got the dwarfs as well, Dwarven Mercenaries. I think every faction's got something decent. You go Portal Tortoises.
It's a little bit worse.
Portal Curse Knights for NR. Oh no, you've got Quadrelli Knights, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's got something now. I even saw somebody playing Portal Elder Bears in SK of all decks as well. Just who needs fish flappers? You can play Portal Elder Bears.
Sometimes you just need more than 2 targets. Just want your mulligans to be a little less taxed. Maybe he's trying to play some Corrupted Flaminikas. You need to get him in the graveyard.
Yeah, that was the game plan. But I think as soon as you're playing Portal Elder Bears is when you need to reevaluate your deck building.
Probably. Maybe even before then. I think whenever you start to add Corrupted Flaminica into the deck, you gotta reevaluate your deck building. I have not gotten the Corrupted Flaminica deck to ever come close to being functional.
Uh-huh. I mean, Elder Bears at 6p, if there's never, probably 4p, there's probably never been a better time to go for it than for Ennis to this guy. I might have to give it a spin, but I don't exactly have the...
Probably a real card. I don't know. Vanilla 6 is something that some factions would have been willing to play pretty recently. Monsters plays Noonwraith from time to time, and that's usually just a Vanilla 6.
Yeah, I mean, this card is just like better than Noonwraith, apart from the haunt aspect of it.
Against Nilfgaard, it sometimes comes up that you clog your opponent's board, but yeah. Not very often.
Oh, the Mahakam Defender is another card actually I want to try out. So it's 4 provisions now. Unfortunately, when I was building a dwarf deck, it kind of didn't really seem like you could fit this card in because there's no real way of boosting it. Like before, and you want to boost this in your hand really, but might be time for Invigorate or something like that. There was a few ideas I had with this card actually that you could obviously you can counsel into it as well.
Dwarves get Minor, they get the Resilience, Zoltan, Tempering, and TA. I think would be the main ways to boost it. I don't know if you want to run hand buff effects in Dwarves, but yeah, maybe there's
that's true. I mean,
some other deck.
With TA and stuff, you could probably get away with playing 1. Pretty decent.
Yeah, I was playing Dwarves earlier in the season. I probably should have had 1 just to TA it, but it wasn't something that I had considered. Probably just good enough.
I think when I built my dwarf deck, I haven't actually played it, but I don't think I ended up putting it in. But yeah, you probably should just whack one in. And yeah, I'm just looking through 4p is normally like the magic. If something goes to 4p, you can just start playing it pretty easily. There's just so many good cards at 4p. Like the fact that I was playing this SK deck yesterday and this Armored Dracards 4p, Mardrums 4p, and I wasn't playing them, kind of mind blowing, honestly. Like it is really good having so many options, but it's also a real shame that we've still got cards like Hybrid This is the worst card I've ever seen from the Way of the Witcher expansion. It's a beast
Oh,
mutant, 4 provisions. Whenever you consume one or more units, boost self by 1. It's so bad. And that art's so good as well. What a
yeah.
stinker of a card.
When you don't even want to play it in your Sheet Troll decks, you know something's a little off, right?
Yeah.
Have you brewed much with Sheet Troll since I guess like the last time it got anything new was I guess Master Mirror, but
I think I did some. It got IDR, right? So I think I was
yeah.
actually doing some stuff at one point with Caranthir, Darren as well. That was the game plan, like just make loads of them. I haven't like this month, this last couple months, but tournament
It's
invite.
magical. We have a game invite.
Look at that.
I thought it would never happen.
Check if I got one. I'm assuming. Oh,
I spoke too soon. Maybe we'll get another invite in a second. What are we laughing at Spessy at? We're not laughing at Spessy. We're laughing at the tournament client. Just normal things. By the way, guys, this tournament is brought to you by advanced.gg, where you can get all of your power drinks, caffeinated gamer fuel, I think, is the terminology they use. It might not be. Wait. Advanced.gg.
I've had an advanced GG
Supplement.
cup. It's
Oh, is
just
it any
out of
good?
range actually, but I've got a cup I use. It's a really cool cup from them, and I used to use it for when I was teaching. I would just sort of, it was just a cup I brought into school, and one of the kids I taught went, Mr. Curly, because I can't use my teacher name now because it's out in the open. Even though it's Mr. Curly, do you drink G Fuel? And I was like, uh, no comment, not really, but
No, little
sure.
Timmy. You should drink
Uh,
advanced.gg.
exactly, little
True
Timmy.
supplement
What are
for
you doing, mate?
gamers.
Come on.
Hope you failed him just for asking me the question. Imagine.
So, not too far away from. Oh, also Renfrey. Trying that. Did you notice Renfrey's brooch?
I don't know
I
what
was so
Renfrey is.
I was so Renfrey's like in the very first Witcher book.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the first short story. So also in the Netflix series. So she's a daughter of the Black Sun. So Maxi, Cyanna, also those. Basically, Stregobor tries to kill her. They have a lot of beef. Um, and she's not in Gwent. There's some guy on Reddit that's making like a post every day with like a custom Renfrey card until she's added to the game. And I thought
Okay.
this was going to be the moment WitcherCon, Renfrey's already been in the Witcher series. She was in the very first episode. Because I mean, spoiler, she dies. Okay, in the story, so she's not around for long. I was like, it's happening. Renfrey's brooch has been added. She's going to be revealed, and it didn't happen. But I still think like this expansion makes the most sense for her with Price of Power. She seems to sort of fit in, right?
Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, you definitely know a lot more about the whole Witcher lore stuff than I am. That's been one of my weak points or strong points as a streamer, just not knowing anything about Witcher lore and
Mm-hmm.
running with everything that chat gives me. Oh, yeah, see the lore commands spammed in chat a bit. It is crazy that the usurper joins the syndicate as a child. Syndicate really just had it in for Nilfgaard the whole time.
You see, I'm still terrible. Like, I know bits and pieces, but I wanted to know more. To be honest with you, like a big idea I always had was doing like lore videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I can't really do lore videos on YouTube unless I read the books, and I'm not very good at reading books. I must say, like the Witcher books are and I think I've read two of them the whole way through. Are the only books I've probably read in my adult life. I'm really, really bad for it. So they are good though. I have to say, I do enjoy them. I'm just terrible at reading. It's not the best thing to say as somebody that teaches and stuff like that. Like really, really bad for it. Honestly, I think my brother and sister both read loads.
Mhm.
I just play video games instead and watch
It's
YouTube
about the
videos.
work-life balance. You don't want to read too much. You already got to read for your job.
True, true.
Chat seems to be interested about your teacher side, asking, do students know that you're a streamer?
No, I'm not actually teaching at the moment though, since January.
Okay, okay.
But no, definitely not. That would have been a nightmare, honestly. Like, it would be fine if the kids knew. It was more. It would be more the parents, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
That would be the sticky point. But yeah, you can like look at my Sully gnome and stuff, and you'll see like loads of growth throughout the year, and then September comes, and it's just, it's so difficult to do both. To be honest, it's
It
kind of
is
impossible.
it is really hard to try to just like half-ass streaming for sure. Consistency is so important for growth that
Hmm.
anytime you have other obligations, it's very hard to stay consistent. Stay motivated too.
I've got some bad news trying that. I think
Yeah,
we
it's
might have to grab it from Hankook's stream. By the looks of it.
okay. Let's see. Let's see what I can do here. This could be worse. This is easier than trying to grab it from Discord.
Hmm.
Um, okay, the timer is going down. And
How do you guys stay motivated to play Gwent? Even I play the game for 2 hours and mold. Well, I think honestly, uh, having a chat that like chills with you and gives you like deck ideas and stuff like it's good. Obviously, uh, the money side of it as well. Like it's kind of like we do get paid to play it ultimately, the bottom line. But I think like for me as well, something that I've enjoyed doing is, and I know like trying it same like just spending hours trying to like think of interesting decks and stuff. Like if I would really struggle if I was just playing net decks all the time and just try harding. Like building decks for me is definitely the thing that sort of keeps things fresh and exciting. And building a deck and trying to win games with it is something for me that I definitely enjoy doing.
yeah, thankfully, like as a streamer, you're rewarded for building decks regardless of how good they are. It seems like I tried to try hard pro ladder a couple times, like years ago, and those always seem to be the worst performing streams. Like I think
Mm.
last January, my stream like the size cut in half as I was trying to try hard pro ladder a little bit. It just wasn't worth
Hmm.
the negative growth.
Yeah, I've sort of like seen it from both sides because I think one thing for me was whenever the qualifiers would be on and stuff,
Hmm.
and if I noticed, I was like, well, I kind of can't stream take because qualifiers where no one's gonna watch me like unless I'm like up super early or do it afterwards. So there's like I think like being able to play in qualifiers helps. I do also I've found as well like if I have like to do a late climb to try and get top 64 or something, where it's like one day where you're like right I need to try hard, like and those streams usually do quite well. But honestly, the biggest thing like is if I'm try harding, I get kind of moody. I don't like losing,
Yeah,
and bringing like the vibe down is not ideal.
yeah. People always ask why I'm like so chill and why I don't get tilted. The answer is really just I'm not like tryharding. Like the results of the game just don't matter as much as just trying to have a good time and making sure everyone in chat's having a good time. Where for someone that's more competitively inclined, like the result of every game impacts their placement at the end of the season. Feels much worse to lose when there's something on the line. Hopefully, going to be getting into this game soon and it's not completely bugged out.
Yeah, it looks like he's got Hankook's got Observer on. and it's a 5 minute delay. So the observer's
Ah,
saying the game started, so we'll be getting underway quite soon.
okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, we got our first drop from the tournament in the Discord.
Oh, no way already? Jeez.
Before we get into game one. Perfect.
Yeah, so they're going to cancel this game here and just do it via game invite. So if we see this cancelled, don't panic. They have started. It's just a slight 5 minute down Hankook stream. Any games you got during the summer sale? Nah. I've got Witcher 3, which is going to take me ages. Because I'm going to do the DLCs. I've never played Blood and Wine, so
Oh,
that's honestly going to take me ages. But I've not really got anything else lined up at all. I
I,
do need to branch out a bit and play some other games, I have to say.
I thought you were a Witcher head. I just assumed that you had played all the games, like 100% of them all.
Nope. I've only played Witcher 3. Uh, that's obviously like where I came from. Like I've really started enjoying it ever since. But yeah, all I played before Gwent was Call of Duty and FIFA. I'm a very basic guy. I just every year pay 50 quid for the same game.
Eh,
I want to play Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 as well, but my understanding is they're just pretty dated.
yeah.
So no sign of like a remake either, unfortunately. Like that was another thing from WitcherCon. I was hoping for like a Witcher 1 remake announced or something, but they just announced that they're doing the Witcher 3 like remastered, basically.
Yeah, like making it for the new consoles. I think they said there was going to be some kind of DLC for Witcher 3 too, but I don't know how expansive that's going to be.
I think all that's being added is some Netflix related weapons and skins, maybe.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
not much. Looks like okay, it looks like the friend match has gone through. I do not have the bands that are on the scoreboard confirmed, but I am assuming that it was Syndicate Syndicate. If it turns out to not be, then we'll adjust the scoreboard. As we hop into game number one, Reckless Flurry, Reckless Flurry.
So like Northern Wind, big in this matchup round one. Being on the blue coin a lot worse. Like you're normally just gonna want to try and play three and pass because you don't want to overcommit, but also last say is kind of relevant because of like the leader charges on the Bear Witcher adepts and great swords and things.
Yeah, let's see. Picking up Greatsword Megascope. Kicks one of the Bear Witchers, try to leave it in deck for the Quen. Does not have the Northern Wind in hand for Hankook. Unfortunately, not able to see Elver's hand here. But Elver is on blue. Decides to just lead on the Maxi. Take a look at his deck. As we go over to Hankook with a hand of a couple bombs. Avalok Sage has the ability to get Portal and Spallblood Totem, as well as the extra Megascope, I believe. Looks like that's what we're going for. Is just going to pull the Portal in round one to do some thinning.
Yeah, like super aggressive if he does go for it. And Elva, obviously, the disadvantage of being first is you can't just slam Portal yourself because you don't really gain anything if you win the round by slamming Portal. But for Hankook, by slamming Portal, like just threatening to win on even. And Elva does have Turgvi in his deck instead of this Sage as well. So even if he's drawing the Portal, he's gonna have 2 points less as well on it. And this is just a key example of why, like, I hate this Turgvi and not Sage. Like, you just really need the Portal at times, especially in a mirror matchup. Could just kind of be over, honestly, if Hankook manages to win on even here.
True, but Turkby is really big in this mirror, being able to kill great swords or kill a Bear Witcher. Seems pretty easy that Turkby just plays for 15 points at some point in the game, and he just naturally has the portal, so who needs Avalok?
True. Yep, that just showed me who's boss, right? Like instant portal fish flapper reply, and
Live
now
click too.
Hankook started off aggressively, but has been matched with the portal, and now just has a decision to make. Like the bombs are never really doing too much in this matchup anyway, but decides to take a 7-point megascope. Obviously, you can get a 10-point megascope on a greatsword, but you also might just assume that it's gonna get heat waved or something like that anyway.
Yeah, with no Bear Witchers in hand, and not the ability to play Bear Witcher pretty early. You know you're not gonna want to play Great Swords into the Fish Flappers because you don't want to use leader charges to grow the Great Sword while the random damage just goes on something that's gonna grow back. So just taking the Megascope now, get it out of the hand, play it for 7, not too bad. Elver using his tactical advantage to draw a card. Potentially a little
He
scary with that Bear Witcher adept still in deck.
very very scary, yeah. Um, Madoc as well, another card that
Yeah.
could have been drawn, but you can discard the Madoc and it's fine, I guess. But yeah, I suppose Maxi wasn't shuffled, so just
True, true.
was fine knowing that he was not going to break his portal there. I hope so, anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, no way to tell from the other side of the table whether or not the Maxi was shuffled. But I think given the play here, it's safe to assume that he chose to keep the order. And there comes a bunch of adepts. 3 adepts, all going to be gaining armor, able to absorb any random damage that Elver throws out. 26 to 13. Though Elver also has that Megascope coming off as a spend this turn. So effectively 20 to 26. Point cap, not too scary.
Hankook, is he in his bathroom? What is that behind him? Is it a looks like like some sort of shower setup he's got there. I always think he's a very cool looking guy with his glasses as well.
Not wrong. It does. I'm pretty sure it's like a bathtub behind him. Yeah. Huh.
Managing Elva to basically do everything you can hope to do on blue coin, which is not lose on even. I think Hankook, after slamming the portal with the Sage as well, those extra 2 points, is going to be a little bit unhappy that he wasn't able to threaten to an uneven. But of course, like a leader charge here would have just been pretty terrible because of the fact that the Bear Witches are going to heal themselves up. And even though the round one went very well for Elva, he's still in a bad spot in the mirror matchup because again, you don't really have an option but to just try and pass and not lose on even. But by doing that, you're also giving your opponent last say, which again is quite relevant. However,
He has a
with the fact that he's
Turgvy.
got Turgvy exactly, no Sage, like if he draws perfectly, that could just be enough to change this game.
Yeah, I mean, both portals are gone. That's the important thing that you want to tutor for, right? I don't think missing your Svalbard Totem or Hankook is that big of a deal. I guess like Totem is pretty big in this mirror, being able to absorb Reckless Flurry charges, but I mean, Turgvy's got to be similar, if not more points to a Svalbard Totem.
Mhm.
Now, both
And yeah, like
players have resolved Maxi. Oh,
once you play the portal as well, like if you get access to it early, you have thin your deck a lot,
yeah.
so it increases the odds on drawing those cards. And Hankook with the round two maxi, often slightly better to round two in maxi. It's like a really subtle thing. Like even like I spoke to Red Dream about it, and actually he was like, "Yeah, I'd not thought of that. It's something Green Knights like talked to me about quite a bit because it just increases the odds of you top decking some of your golds, and then you can shuffle the golds that are near the bottom to the top, hopefully. So not always relevant. Like sometimes maxi round one is just fine because you're going to keep it, but often maxing round two just means you might draw if you mulligan aggressively like one or two golds. Then you can shuffle, increases the odds on you finding all the golds basically ever so slightly.
It also gives you less looks, though, right? You're drawing from a random deck, and then wait, does it really help? How does that math work out?
Yeah, I don't know if it. I mean, honestly, like Green Knight would probably be able to give you like
Yeah, I hadn't
he
considered that.
talked about it a lot, but I think it's a very subtle thing, and it does depend on like obviously some situations it is going to be better to maxi round one because your top decks might be completely terrible for round two.
Yeah, like
But
finding
I
your cards in
think
the right order is important, and you want to just see what it is.
yeah,
Or you like want to
I
bottom a
think like
specific card, and you plan on shuffling more often than keeping.
hmm
That is interesting. Isn't something that I'd considered. So picking up a couple of bombs for those first couple draws of the round. Grabs a Bear Witcher, still has one in deck, is risking bricking if he takes another mull on a non-Bear Witcher card, unless he kept the maxi.
Doesn't look like he did, by
Or
the way.
bottom
That
Bear
he's
Witcher. I guess he probably
longingly
would
looking at his totem.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think what happened there is he bottomed... He must have bottomed Bear Witcher, and then just decided Bear Witcher was the worst card in his hand there.
Yeah, putting Bear Witcher on the bomb deck definitely does make a lot of sense for that exact reason, so you can take those aggressive mulligans, but maybe he didn't, right? Is it really better than what? I guess because he's going second, the value of uninteractivity with the bombs here is pretty good.
Oh, chat's saying he bottomed Megascope. That also makes sense. That card's probably not at its best when you've already played your portal and you're not likely to be able to stick a greatsword.
I think he probably should have bomb decked the Bear Witcher though, just so he could mulligan more aggressively, but
Yeah, it matters a lot when you're playing the version with the discard package, because if you're wanting to use your discard cards in round 3
Yeah.
post mulligans, you have to have a Bear Witcher on the bottom or you risk bricking. So it ends up taxing your sequencing pretty harsh when you don't. But without the discard package, probably not as big of a deal. Just make sure you leave one of the Bear Witchers in deck for each of your mulls, as Hankook was able to do there. Some bombs getting played.
yeah, Northern Wind on the Maddock and Hankook. If my bomb knowledge is good, that is a Northern Wind. I've also noticed that Hankook has got some pretty impressive floating cards on his side of the board. Maxi was floating before, and Maddock as well. Have to keep an eye on that if that's still going to happen. I don't know what is going on, but he's got some special skills with the fact that his cards just don't quite appear to be on the board properly, but floating a bit. Did you see that? Or was it
No,
just
I
me?
didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Not something I'm paying attention for.
I mean, even this Maddock in the front row of Elva doesn't quite look right to me. I don't know. It
I
looks a bit weird. I don't know. Maybe
don't-
it's the board.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think I'm just talking nonsense.
Anyway, both the bears off of the totem getting answered by bombs. I'm sure this Matic is gonna get Northern Wind shortly after. Ooh. Cashing out some of that value with Quartermaster first. If Hankook wants to banish this Matic, it's only gonna be a 1-point Northern Wind. We do see Totem come out first.
Quite surprised. I feel like it's still worth Northern Winding this Maddock.
There's nothing in your melee row. I don't know. What's the worst that's gonna happen? He clicks on Matic, it comes back, and then you Northern Wind it again?
You're just being so awkward though, right? By not playing any units. Like I think even though okay, it's a totem, it's not that easy to deal with. Like you've seen your opponent play Quartermaster from Kaduch. Like
Yeah.
this Heat Wave you still got as well. Like in theory, you could just go bomb Heat Wave, especially with the fact you mulligan the Bear Witcher. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely see this lines too.
I don't disagree. It depends exactly how many bombs are still left for Elver as well.
Hmm.
Possibly being able to save the bomb for something like a Greatsword to deny Megascope might be a little bit better. Whoa, we're seeing Flurry Charges come out into this totem. That's a full value Spellblood totem.
That is pretty good.
Greatsword up to 10, but there is Heatwave and Hjalmar able to take care of these. I believe there's a Greatsword in his graveyard.
Here comes Gerd.
Mm-hmm.
And Hankook's good. Looking pretty nice as well. Still has an extra turn to wait on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not dead until 4 cards in hand. That Quartermaster making some juicy targets for the Gerd. No urgent things to be answered with this Hjalmar. Just going to take the Gerd now. Just assuming his opponent's not going to play into it further. Leave up his removal. Has the option to Junod the 7 as well. Still has all of his flurry charges while being up a couple points on even cards. Though Elver still with a Matic, while Hankook's was banished by Elver's Northern Wind. And there's the Turgvi. Gonna be playing for 15 points here. by rupturing the gird. And Hankook getting clicked for 1 point to try to deny the Junod. Guess there's no Bear Witchers in hand.
Yeah, there's
Leader
been
can...
some suboptimal plays, I think, from Elva here, like with the leader charges into the totem to get a great sword buffed up, which ultimately got heat waved. But this Turg V is a lot of points, that is for sure. And Hankook doesn't exactly have an abundance of great plays of his own. No Quen, Adrenaline active. The Bear Witcher can come through now on the Kadooch, which does look like that is what he's going to go for.
This is pretty good. He's got another damage unit next to it as well, so he's going to get much better heal value than his opponent. I'm thinking about Quartermaster instead. Yeah, okay. He's got a damaged Siren on the other side. I can get behind it. Gets those extra points on the unit that's going to die anyway.
Yeah, like Junod as well is still a card. And this Bear Witcher, ultimately, if you click the Bear Witcher, it just plays perfectly into the Junod. So I kind of like this from Hankook. Obviously, just the Rupture's basically dead anyway, so the Quartermaster did just play for 8 points. And here comes the Quen of Elva, of course. Kind of the big power play that you have in the non-devotion SK decks.
Yep, it does take out that bear before it can get healed by the Hankook. And I don't think anything else in his hand is getting damaged. You might be seeing another 1 point Hankook. Unless maybe Elver's leader lines it up. But leader into the Junod takes out the Bear Witcher that came off of Quen for a nice 7 extra points on the Junod.
Yeah, I think honestly this portal from Hankook in round 1, while it was, of course, if Elva had the portal, it also just means that his last save really isn't worth anything because the leader charges for both players are just going to be playing for full value. If you're the player that has the last say and you have portal fish flappers on the board, your opponent's leader can hit into them and they're going to heal up. Whereas here, and obviously great swords, but there's no great swords or fish flappers. So honestly, Elva's Turg V definitely a better card than Sage if you draw the portal. So it's going to be a close one here, I do think. But Elva might have it, honestly. Then again, the leader charge into Totem was not ideal.
For sure. Looks like Northern Wind's going to get taken on not Madoc, as he does not need to play this Hjalmar until the very end. So this Madoc is going to have a rough time applying any Cataclysm. And there could just not be a bomb in Elver's hand. Here's the Hjalmar. Gonna deal 6, take out the Junod. 10 to 28. 2 cards remaining for Hankook. We got the Quen for Bear Witcher that plays for a bunch of points, as well as a Hjalmar that will play for 11. 2 leader charges as well. Is this going to be enough? Plays the Hjalmar first. Does play into the Madoc.
He's gonna snipe it.
Ooh, leader looking
He's
to kill it.
Snipe it. Oh, what a
Ooh, gets it. Gets it with the second charge.
So it's Quen against a leader charge and a heat wave. That's only a 4-point heat wave. What a stinker.
6 to 15, and Quen is more than gonna make this up. Bear Witcher deals 3, 16 to 12, and Hankook takes game number 1 of this series with his Reckless Flurry.
Yeah, that was a cool game. I think the key moment has to be this leader charge onto the totem. I don't think it was the motive. You wasted so many points there, realistically. Like, this totem was just quite unbelievable how good it was. But Hankook made things awkward for his opponent. And remember, it's just a best of 3, so Hankook just 1 game away. We're assuming if the Syndicate decks were banned then, Hankook still has Inspired Zeal left to play.
Yep, Reckless Flurry, Imprisonment against Inspired Zeal. I believe it's Inspired Zeal, no commandos, just Siege Devotion, correct?
Yes.
Gonna have to squeeze through either Imprisonment Ball or that Flurry deck we just saw. Just waiting for players to get the game invite sorted. I think he's looking for his opponent in the friends list. This is always a great experience.
Is he offline?
I think he scrolled past it a couple
Oh,
times.
is that? I think that was me. I think I just saw myself there on his friends list. Oh, I've seen him. I've seen him. He's looking for
Oh
Drummond.
man.
Success
Found
has
it.
been found.
Found it. One of the nice things about the tournament platform is when it's working, you don't need to worry about the whole friends list stuff, which can get a little complicated at times.
Yeah, I mean it's great when it works, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
doesn't work as much as I think everyone would hope it does. Hope it did. Did. I don't flipping know.
Yeah, I had big plans for tournament mode when it first came out. They have yet to come to fruition. Is still not reliable enough to put those plans into action. But
Are you
yep.
allowed to talk about your plans?
Well, there's Data Driven Gaming, which is a website to get data from various tournaments and compile graphics and try to build meta snapshots. But without being able to run Swiss tournaments, it's hard to really gather enough
Right.
data to get much insight.
Hmm?
And there are going to be some more features for the site that I was going to roll out over time as more and more data became available. But we still have a... Oh, looks like Jackpot was not banned. So let's fix our scoreboard here. Reckless Flurry up against Jackpot.
Yeah, so Jackpot obviously lost the provision and it lost the point as well with this Horson. But tax collector, it's been my hot take for a while. The best card in the game. I'm sticking to my guns. I said it like when it got buffed like 3 months ago. This is the best card. I'm sticking to it. I think it's so good. It's just so unfair how good it is.
That's a take. I don't know if it's even the best Syndicate 4 provision card, but
Uh-huh.
it's a take.
It
It's
is
a take.
it is supposed to be a hot take. It's supposed to be controversial, but I do kind of like it's just outrageous how good it is. Like
It's
the
not a bad
four
card for sure.
guaranteed, just instant value, and you get a coin. Like, jeez, coins are very good.
Yeah, for sure. It's especially in Jackpot too, so you can pass when you're
Yeah,
on 9 coins and still get some passive value out of it, where normally those coins aren't continuing to increase the points gap. There we got the poison coming down, finishing off that Bear Witcher Adept, and then Greatsword plus Madoc, and a leader charge in round 1. Overplaying
I guess the
pretty
great sword
aggressively.
in at 10, away from the Horson, and this is one thing that again the Reckless Furry deck was doing so well and why it was popular. If you go second with it, you can apply so much pressure to win on even. Um, Against pretty much any deck in the game. And Hankook would be, I imagine we see a pass coming in from him at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or could offer to go down and just take the long round, maybe down a card. I could also see that working out for him.
Yeah, Megascope on to the Greatsword. Continuing to just throw points in play. And Hankook just gets out. 20 to 15, 30 to 15. Getting crushed in round 1 there. As Elver able to win round 1 on even against Jackpot. Good spot to be in.
Yeah, again, who needs Avalax Sage? Just draw the portal.
Just draw your golds. Why play tutors? You mulligan to Tax Collector.
What a joke. Imagine mulliganing the best card in the game.
Crazy. There is the totem. Pretty big push available to come out here. Already slammed in 12 points. Hankook with the thinning bronze to counter. Currently 8 versus 8, but that totem can get clicked whenever for 4 additional points. Wonder what Elver has here to continue the push. Not quite on adrenaline yet for his Bear Witchers, but Still has bombs for Matic. Still has some other golds left as well. Though, nothing to really use any of his tall removal on. Just gonna play a bomb here, take out one of those sewer raiders, pull his Matic back from the dead, transform those abominations for a nice 11-point gap into the push after winning on even. Trying to force out those scary Syndicate golds, which are all in Hankook's hand. Sodi Brothers, Vivaldi Bank getting played into the bleed. A gold that plays another gold.
Siggy right on top as well, and of course in Jackpot, it could be a very tall Siggy if Hankook does want to go that route. Of course, the deck's going to get shuffled afterwards as well.
I was thinking about it. He still has plenty of golds in deck, too. I was a little surprised at just how much is still left. Even if he plays the Siggy, he can draw 4 pretty good golds going into round 3. And there's the Siggy. Fills out his bank. 12 power. Probably going to eat one of the tall removals so this doesn't get Caesared. Yep. Heatwave takes that out. Elver staying ahead. Back to 15-4. 9 coins in the bank for Hankook. Borsodi is on deck.
I definitely do like a soft push from the SK player here, from Drummond. Obviously, Hankook passed on 5, which means you have to try and get your card advantage somehow, because if you just pass, they play a card, and I think the most important thing is getting this Madoc value as well. Madoc as a card is kind of just free carryover into round 3. If you play a bomb in round 3, you're playing a 4 provision card for a decent amount of points, so definitely a little soft push here, trying to shorten the round 3 makes a lot of sense. Going to try and go into round 3 with a card like Quen as well, but this Gerd was maybe the moment where this push became which kind of looks a bit dodgy now. But camera on the Saul.
It's going to take out the Saul, yeah. Interesting that he chose to play the Horst instead of the Ewald, valuing having the extra damage on Ewald for round 3 instead of the 6 coins from Horst.
Yeah, I think it's probably the bounty with Horson, and then maybe Ewald can help line things up into the Horson range as a spender as well. I guess that's probably the thinking.
True.
Professor, because if you can bounty a Bear Witch or something like that, it's pretty devastating. But Elva just not letting up, continuing to slam the cards, and here comes a Bear Witch up. Totem, of course, a carryover card as well, if not clicked. And it's a 15-point gap.
Yep. No second damaged unit in play yet, but plenty of options there. Either Great Swords from hand or one of the Bear Witchers able to give some extra points to that Hankook later on in the round. Or the push could just end whenever. Elver did win round 1 on even, and every time Hankook plays a card without getting ahead, he is still going to be down a card in round 3. Spending a bit with Horst before cashing out that bounty with Horson Jr. Stays on 9 coins. Still behind by a point. Not quite enough.
Elva does not know where the pass button is.
He's gonna keep going. Clicks on that Hankook too. Gets out the Ewald. That's not one you really want to be playing. You played the Horse first, so you'd be able to save it for round 3.
And I would definitely like to see Hankook get ahead here, if possible. So he's going to force the last card, but he's going to have to spend, and that means he's not going to get as much carryover as you would like.
Okay, gonna Vitality some stuff. He can Vitality everything up 2, and that'll all tick before the pass. Just thinking, how can he spend the least while getting ahead? Okay, so he bleeds everything, goes down to 0 coins. After the Vitalities and bleeds, he is ahead, so he's not going to be down a card in round 3. He's still drawing to Jacques, Philippa, and 2 other goals that are in his deck. Oh, and he takes a look for his Horson, and there's one other. Leader Charge is coming out for Elver. Really going in on this push. What's his last card? The Quen! That's huge!
True, everything.
He had it all! Quen for Bear Witcher. Oh, Quen for Junod? That's also huge. That is also 11 points.
One
So
more
there is
time
still
showing the
leader
pass button is
available.
cheat. The pass button, just why pass? Just make it a much simpler game. And the Cesar obviously only going to. Wow, it's not going to
It's
be
not
profiting
enough.
at all. I thought it would get something off there, well, off the horse, but apparently it doesn't. Cesar coming in, and that's just not going to be enough juice. So, yeah, well played there
Wow.
to Jorman Devil one more time. We're going to game number 3.
Oliver takes that 2-0. Brutal game. Just slams his golds.
Yeah, the early Siggy was a bit of a nightmare. The fact you've got a Siggy that goes to 12 and just plays into Heatwave even more than it should be already, because you're always tempted to Heatwave the Siggy because of Cesar, but realistically, you probably want to get your Siggy in this matchup down at like 6 or so it's like away from the bomb kind of bomb leader charge range. But
Yeah, then it's in Hjalmar range though.
hmm
I don't know. Then you get to heatwave something else. Not sure how much that could end up mattering. Like that round, it wouldn't have mattered much. He never got a better heatwave than the Siggy anyway. But I think the way it would have played out, I guess he would have gotten a couple more coins.
yeah, I think you'd rather just turn the Siggy into coins, right?
Yeah.
Rather than points.
He also didn't know that the Siggy was going to be the top card of his deck.
Yeah, and all the other golds were pretty low down.
Yeah.
So we're going to Jackpot versus Nilfgaard. Both of these decks, the leaders are a provision less than they were last season. Syndicate didn't really get any new cards to play with, and obviously the Horson lost a point, whereas the Imprisonment deck, Blightmakers are more expensive, but it has also got Tortoises in at 4 provisions now.
Yeah, the provisions get shuffled around a little bit for this Nilfgaard deck to make room and continue to play Blightmakers. That card is a little bit too good to just cut because it got a provision nerf. Card's
I
still one of the
honestly,
best bronze thinning in the game, even at 6p.
yeah, and there was always this sort of weird card in these Nilfgaard decks around the 8 provision mark, like the Vigo or Cantarella location, like which never felt the most amazing. I think the location was probably the best approach. So it's not like it's lost, even though it has obviously lost quite a few provisions of the Blight Makers. Like I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world because you still get to fit all the most important cards like your Usurper, your Ball. It's not like you're suddenly missing out on these sorts of things. So
Yeah, you just rearrange your filler a bit. You got a new good 4p card with the tortoises that you can play, so it's not like you're adding something that's another like bad 4p card that you didn't want to play before because you have a new 4p that is sort of as good as some of the other ones that you were already playing.
it's like the
Poisons.
classic Syndicate opener, double fist deck, just being uninteractive. Has the Trafficker ready as well, so this Cupbearer Purify didn't work out too well for Jorman, and having to take a proactive Blightmaker, obviously going to miss out on the 2 points from the Mage Assassin as well with this.
A little unfortunate, but it is 26-0. Hankook getting on the board with these Sewer Raiders has a 10-point Fizztech Trafficker in his hand. If he wants a spender in round 1, he's between the Philippa and the Horst. I guess the Horst is pretty easy to play, but you do sort of want units in play when you play the Horst. Sewer Raiders are step 1 to get some units to give vitality to. As the second Lightmaker comes out for Elder. 35-6, and it looks like Hankook is just gonna get out.
Yeah, I feel as though Jorman might have overstayed his welcome here. Like, could have decided to pass, but instead wants to win the round. And playing a Blightmaker, pretty expensive. Obviously, drawing double Blightmaker is pretty solid. And Hankook did play it quite awkwardly with the fist text and stuff, but like double Blightmaker is a pretty big commitment. Okay, they're just bronze cards, but they're still playing for
They're
gold points.
thinning bronze cards. They're making the rest of your draws better.
It's true.
What have we come to that our thinning bronze plays are something that we want to save for rounds 2 and 3? What world is this?
Hankook's going to be looking to fill that bank up as well and try and get the maximum carryover for round 3 for Jormund. I just fancy his chances in a long round. Doesn't even play a single card. Just wants those extra mulligans. Often what you'll see with Nilfgaard decks that play Joachim is going down to 7 and getting rid of some of the worst cards
Yeah,
to
just
improve the Joachim. But Jormund just taking the extra mulligans instead.
Maybe his hand is just all golds. I think that's the only read you can really get from that.
Or he just doesn't know the line. Remember, this is an invitational. Some of these players have qualified through some of them have been invited, some of them have qualified through qualifiers, like from the community. So we might not necessarily be seeing professional players that we often see at like these qualifiers and things like that. So there's more chances that like some lines like are going to be slightly suboptimal. Like this is certainly not something that I've been super aware of until sort of watching like the professionals play in when I've been casting and stuff. So it could just be like a bit of a misplay, not knowing the line. Certainly, if I was in the Invitational, I wouldn't be playing cleanly. Like, I would be making mistakes here and there. So more so than like the professionals.
For sure, for sure. I think if you're in Hankook's spot here, like Hankook is definitely aware that Nilfgaard's going to want to play down the 7, and I wouldn't be surprised if he respects his opponent enough to just assume that his hand is very
Hmm.
strong and play accordingly. Because I think even playing random games on pro rank, you would get that read.
Hmm.
A handful of golds for Hankook here. Has that street urchins. Leads on the Jacques. Makes some tokens, gets on the board, develops a Veiled Spender. 4 coins in the bank.
Yeah, the Horseman can be really nice in this matchup as well, just as a way of spending. Sorry, the Freak Show spending that's not going tool,
Mm-hmm.
um, rather than sinking points into a Sea Jackal or an Urchin. In this case, the Horseman definitely could be good combined with the leader as well. Just gives you so much removal potential. And Jorman therefore would prefer to Joachim into his engines if at all possible.
That could be a
But of
reason to get
course,
rid of Blightmakers in round 1 as well, just to not give your
mhm,
opponent those golems to hit with Horsen. Deck
yeah,
doesn't really play a whole lot of 3s outside of that. Whoa, Invo taken immediately on that evolving card. Gonna be pulling that out of the deck with Joachim. That's a big one.
yeah, we could have also seen like a leader charge coup there. So I think this could have just been. Um, I wonder if coup was better here, right? Like leader charge, coup, answer the spender, play it yourself. Are you ever going to find a better coup de grace in this matchup? I mean, you can coup de grace, of course, the Joachim, but with Dead Man's Tongue change as well, it's not like you're guaranteed to know what you're finding with that as well. So, um, Hankook, maybe it was a misplay to leave the Jacques in at 6, but having said that, the Invo was taken anyway, so didn't end up wasting any points. And there's one leader charge on the Siggy. That is definitely a nice play. Of course, Cesar isn't going to be able to get the benefit from Siggy if Siggy is locked, because you can't trigger a locked profit.
Yep, card basically no longer has text while it is locked. Has a bunch of ways to deal with this Thirsty Dame. You could yoink it with Philippa. He does have a couple of statuses that can get applied. The bounty from the Professor. There might be... I think there's Ewald left out of the bank. That's actually kind of crazy later on, if I'm remembering correctly. You can bank into Ewald, spend for a bunch of bleeds. Every bleed boosts the Thirsty Dame.
Wow.
Just
Jeez.
easiest 2-coin spender ever. Or 2 point for 1 coin spender ever. Does enable this Brothans to make another Thirsty Dame, but there are answers for that one too. We got Freak Show. We got Horsen.
Yeah, and the Dame
Board.
getting poisoned as well. So getting this Brothan's down before the ball as well is going to get that extra value from Assimilate. Awesome Freak Show, both ways of taking out the Brothans and the Dame, and you're going to often want to play this Freak Show when you've got the most coins possible. So not exactly ideal for Hankook, but you don't want to just let these engines spiral out of control here.
Yup. He does have access to leader as well, potentially, if he wants to try to shoot everything down. Has access to 6 coins here, and then an additional 9. If he wants to take out the Brothans as well. Yep, I'm gonna be using that leader. Kills both of the engines. 1 charge left on that ball. Probably gonna take out this Thirsty Dame at some point. No rush. I wonder if we're gonna see the leader charge or some other answer to this freak show to prevent that from killing anything else. Only 1 coin left in the bank, and there is no Siggy and no Coin Brother either. So might have a little trouble refilling the bank for this freak show, if that's part of the plan. Elver just gonna play another Informant, copy that Dame once more, proc the ball, kill the Dame. Back to 5. Thinking about using the charge. Decides to take it. Dame goes to 6, which is in Horson range, and Hankook is just going to take that immediately. Going back over 26 to 8. 6 cards in hand for Nilfgaard, 5 remaining for Hankook as Usurper comes down. Not going to be proccing any of those Dames as they are all dead. Not going to proc the ball as the ball has been fully completed. 20 to 26. As Quick Professor? Just gonna kill one of the Fangs of the Empire to gain some coins. Build up a bit of a bank for either Saul or Vivaldi Bank. Yep.
Yeah, definitely got a bit of a coin problem, and obviously Saul you're going to want to get stuck. And let's not forget that Jacques as well is on top of Jorman's deck. So that's going to be a big Joachim. Here
There it is.
comes.
Gonna be pulling that Jacques now. Still has that coup available as well, if we assume that he drew it. Possibly the reason that he chose to not coup the Jacques is he just didn't draw the coup.
Yeah, this Usurper down quite late as well, as you mentioned. So you do miss out on a lot of points with that. Obviously, the Horson's Freak Show really cleaned up, but the Dame, the Brathens, both would have been buffed. But also, if you get the Usurper down before the Masquerade Ball, the agents played from the Ball, the Fangs, are also going to just be giving you those extra points. So, bit of a late Usurper, but of course, there's so many things you want to get down early. And here comes Bank. Kurt near the top. I think that's the card he was looking for. And unlock the offensive spender. And that's just always, it's just always good to try and spend.
Could just unlock
against NG.
Siggy to try to get your
yeah.
Caesar through. You already have the Horson that can spend and kill all these 3s.
The problem is, like, it's quite easy to block this row. It's almost full, right?
Could be a problem. Oh, they're just going to Purify the Joachim to deny the coup there. Okay, so what's this coup doing now? All the leader charges are gone.
Leader charges, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's just no coup, but... Oh, Fergus! That's in the list! Well, that
Professor Horson and Kurt all being given the spying status, and you do not need a death blow, remember, if the card is spying. Hankook maybe just caught a little bit off guard by the Fergus there, and here comes Saul. 7 coins, so he's going to be increasing for 2 points per turn, like a beast at this point.
Yeah. Nope, just gonna take the Street Urchins. If he takes the Saul grows to 6, and then you can coup the Horson and kill the Saul. It's just, ugh.
This Fergus was amazing.
I forgot it was in the list.
Looked in such a dodgy position with no leader charges, but yeah, the surprise Fergus, and yeah, fair play. Like, again, there's many cards you could go for instead of Fergus, but to include it, it's worked out here very well for Elva, and that also just gives you another reason not to take the leader charge coup on Jack when you've got the Fergus, which you can set it up on a Horson later on or anything like that. And to be in a 10-card round and have Saul still in your hand with 2 cards left, something's gone a little bit pear-shaped here for Hankook, but he does still have 9 coins.
Here's the coup. Going on the Horson. Taking out... There's no engines here, right? Just playing it for value. Is that killing 2 3s? There's the Saul. It's gonna grow to 7, and then not grow again next turn. Just a solid 7 for 7. Sometimes it's all you need. Needed a little bit more this game.
Cesar not doing much. Not what he's there for. Deciding to spend with the boost. Obviously, Horson as well can be cleaning up offensively. Spend the last 3 coins and not waste any coins. But Unless this last card for Drummond, even an Elder Bear would do it. So I doubt that there's going to be anything that wouldn't. Roderick
Is it bricked?
is -2. It's not
It's
brick.
not bricked.
It finds the Vincent.
Uh,
That's very close, actually. Wow.
yeah, Elver takes it. Wins over the jackpot twice.
You have to respect that. Don't ban
Definitely.
Syndicate. Beat it twice. Deserved win for sure. GG to Hankook as well. That was a fun
For
series.
sure, for sure. Okay. Well, that was round number 1. I gotta imagine we're one of the last matches to complete, right?
I think so, right? The delay and the fact it went best of 3.